All right, Sports Inquirer here with Randy Ronnie, head coach of Old Dominion football. Coach, sixth season with the squad. I think we were at Media Day a few years ago. You were either in your first or second year, so it's been. How does it feel to be 6 years with the program at this stage?
Yeah, no, it's a little different. Obviously, I'm now the longest tenured coach in the league, so it's a little bit of a different feel. For a long time, being a first time head coach, you always felt like the newcomer, and now it's a little bit different. So, um, it's I'm excited to see continue. You have a new team every year, but obviously we have a bunch of guys that we've recruited, and so it's a great time to have our culture instilled and that sort of thing.
Yeah, looking back at last season, 5-7, but each loss was by one possession. Just what do you take away from that? And when you look back at that, what did you learn from that experience and try to carry over into your preparations for this year?
Yeah, I mean, if there was only one thing, I would already had it fixed. So it's a bunch of different things. We've got to be better in the turnover margin, not only protecting the football but taking it away. We've got to continue to be good in the third, where we've got to improve in the third quarter. That's another area. But overall, it's just a bunch of little things, and we've got to get better at everything. And the margins in this league are so small that you have to be on top of your stuff each and every day. You can't let something slide, because that's going to be the thing that you could affect. Coming out, with a win. So we have to make sure that we're locked in all the time. We're locked in practice on the fundamentals and details, and that's really the key.
Let's look at the offensive end. You do return Colton Joseph, your starting quarterback, but you also brought Zach with you, a senior offensive lineman. What about having that continuity QB position and also a veteran like Zach on your offensive line?
Yeah, we've got some guys returning on the offensive line, which is obviously critical, and really on both sides, offensive and defensive line. We've got guys returning, which is going to be an awesome deal. Um, we also, have our offensive coordinator back. We have our defense coordinator back, special teams coordinator back. So continuity in general is something that's going to help us this year. You're always going to have new players in this day and age, but if you have continuity in the coaching staff and the administration and things like that, it helps to get everybody on the same page a little bit quicker.
An odd question. I wasn't even going to ask this, but you brought it up. What's more difficult to? I mean, they're both. This be both difficult. Coaching turnover or player turnover? Which one is? If you have a lot of one in an off season, it's can really cause you some trouble.
Yeah, I don't know if you can differentiate or separate them. Um, Coaching turnover is hard, because you have to teach that new person the culture and all those sort of things. Make sure they're speaking the same language, because ultimately they're the ones that are going to be on a day-to-day basis instituting that culture to the players. So that's where that's tough. Players are a bunch of player turnover is hard, because you have to replace them all. There's just more of them, right? You have 105 players, and you only have 15 coaches or whatever, 15, 16, 17 coaches. So overall, it's a little bit, there's different things on both of them. During the year and getting people on the same page is probably a little bit harder with the coaches, but having to replace players, if you have mass turnover in the players, just finding enough people that can help you win and lose games is something that's going to be difficult.
Well, on the defensive end, you do return a player in Jason Henderson, who we that's all America, not even all conference, all America level player. How's that rehabilitation rehab been going, and just how valuable is that to have him back on the field?
Yeah, I mean, we just had a workout the other day, and it was an off-season workout, and I've never seen him that good in an off-season workout, let alone over the last 18 months. So, feel good about where he is. He's playing with a lot of confidence, having fun, and doing those sort of things. But for him, I know it's going to be helpful to have guys like Chris in front of him, and a defensive line that's experienced in front of him that can go and make plays on their own. I mean, our defensive line is they're not just sitting in there holding blocks. They're going to penetrate. They're going to make plays in the backfield, and I'm excited about the type of talent we have at that position that's going to help those linebackers, because we really have four returning linebackers that were starters. When you consider Jason, Koa, Jaleel, and then Mario Thompson.
Yeah, and you did bring Chris with you, and we'll speak to him a little bit later. But what about just having a redshirt senior as a defensive lineman and the veteran aspect of what he brings on and off the field?
Well, I think his presence is extremely valuable. Part of it is just his development over the time that he's been here. I mean, when I first met him, he was about 195 pounds. Now he's 275 pounds. So I mean, and if just the development he's had as a person, development he's had as a player, I think it speaks a lot to his commitment to the program, his commitment to getting better each and every day. And that's something that the other guys can look at and be like, all right, that's somebody that I want to emulate, and that's something that I want to achieve someday.
Before we get to some personal questions, once again we're here with Coach from Old Dominion. Uh, what about just the development of the program from being at what we consider now the FCS level to now where you're at now, the FBS level, and going from that big transition to now putting together solid wins and now bowl eligibility and maybe even more is a reality. Just what about the development of ODU overall?
Yeah, I mean it's a transition, and Bobby Wilder did a great job of taking that transition. And then the administration's done a wonderful job of continuing to invest in the program and invest in our schedule, invest in our facilities, and our operating budget. And I think all those things help us in order to continue to move on. I mean, we're in the group of six. This is the most competitive conference around. There's nothing like the Sun Belt, and I think that it's something where we have to continue to invest in order to make our mark. But this is also a place where we know that we can compete for league championships, and that's our expectation each and every year.
Yep. Once again, we'll just wrap up here with Coach. Favorite stadium that you've been able to coach in besides your current home at Old Dominion?
Well, I would say SB Ballard Stadium is a fun place to play because it's very unique, right? We have our suites in the end zone and things like that. It's a unique stadium, so I do love that. Um, in the Sun Belt, we've got a lot of great stadiums. I mean, I think that's one of the things that makes this conference so great. It's just the fan support and things like that. So that's been great. In my other travels, I was at Penn State for 6 years, so Happy Valley's kind of a place. Beaver Stadium's kind of a place that is hard to beat, and that's a a whiteout environment is one of those things that you have to experience in your life in order to really feel it, and that's something that I would say is one that I'm lucky to have experienced many times, and I'm that one's always going to be have a special place in my heart.
Right. A favorite recruit that you were able to sign, and you can use any criteria from you worked on him for multiple years, or that someone that wasn't highly regarded but turned out to be really good, or they were highly regarded and you found your recruiting skills to get them on campus.
I mean, that'd be like asking me about my favorite child. So I don't think that's one that you can say, but I mean,
you can name a few.
Well, the one I would say, I mean, that obviously sticks out to me is the very first one I ever signed is Colin Klein. And now he's the offensive coordinator for Texas A&M, but he finished, I think, second in the Heisman Trophy voting and ended up being a pretty good player for Kansas State. And he was the first guy I ever signed. And so that one obviously means a lot. And we still talk all the time and that sort of thing. So that one always means a lot. And then, it's special. I was able a couple years ago to go to Trace McSorley's wedding. This year I was able to go to Sean Clifford's wedding. And those are the things that mean a lot to you as a coach is just to be able to be important enough in their life to where they want to invite you to the day that is probably the most important day in theirs is kind of a cool deal. So I love being able to be in their lives for a while. These guys know that they can contact me anytime, and that's one of those things that it'd be hard to ever pick between one because I know I'd immediately hear from all the rest of them.
I love it. Best high school player that you ever witnessed in person?
Best high school player I ever witnessed in person. Oh, man.
If you can name one or two, maybe one emerges.
I mean, Micah Parsons was pretty unbelievable in high school. I did not recruit him, but I did witness it in person. And I mean, he's over there sacking the quarterback on every play, and then he's playing running back and doing those sort of things. So Micah Parsons would probably be the guy I would say is the most incredible one I've ever seen in person. And obviously he still does pretty good things in the NFL.
He's doing all right. One thing that you would change or just improve in the college football landscape?
Well, I think that's the problem is everyone wants to take one thing or do those sort of things. And what we don't understand is that the things connect, right? They're all intertangled. So you change one thing, you change the recruiting calendar. Well, now you got to, everything else changes. You know, the one of the things I would probably change, it's a very small thing, is I would make camps over the summer invite only. Right now you can't do that. Next, technically they have to be open to everybody. And I
You
just
mean
think,
like high schoolers coming to
yeah,
campus?
like just make them invite only.
Okay.
And if you did that, it would change a lot of different things. It wouldn't make it so hectic for everybody else, and I think it would really eliminate. Now you'd really know. The other thing I would do is I would let, as soon as I offer you a scholarship, if you want to sign, you can sign the day I offer it to you, and that would end a lot of the whole non-committable offers. That would end a lot of and it would make it better for the student athletes because they would know which ones really mattered. They would know which offers really count. And it would also make it for the coaches, you better evaluate the right way. You know what I mean? Because if the kid, you just throw an offer out there and the kid signs or says he wants to sign, you either tell them, oh, sorry, we're not going to send you the papers, and then they know where they really stand, or you're going to sign them. And so I think those are probably the two things I would change.
Okay. Pregame, how do you handle that? Do you try to just walk or run? Do you have a specific meal or music? Do you go over your play sheet? How do you just prepare for a game, maybe 24 hours before?
I mean, I always work out in the morning. I mean, I wouldn't really call it running as much as getting through it. And that sort of thing. I'm not a music guy. I love music, but I'm not a music guy in games. I don't really care about that. No, I think that for me, pregame is about getting ready. I drink a few too many energy drinks, but these guys know I'm not really big into the pregame speeches so much. You know, I talk to them all week, and if I have to get you jacked up to play in the game, we got major problems because you only have 12 of those things guaranteed every year. And so, it's one of those things that, I'm not about that. But I want guys to have fun. I want guys to go out there. My pregame speeches last about 37 seconds, and let's go out there and get after it.
I like it. And then lastly, what's the best coaching advice that you've received and maybe something that you tell your guys, or maybe the best advice you've given a player that you really resonated with you?
I mean, I don't know about coaching advice for me is, and I think it's for the players too. They have to be this way: is be where your feet are. You know what I mean? I mean, you don't look ahead to, don't be looking for your next job. Don't be looking for, what's coming ahead. Be where your feet are, because you don't know when you're going to get that back, and you're going to look back and you're going to wish that you had invested a little bit more emotionally and mind, body, and spirit into where you were at that moment. And that's probably the thing I would tell everybody.
All right, Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you, and good luck this season.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.